Hello there, and welcome. Well, I'm sliding this one in just under the wire, but I'm keeping going, I'm still on task. So, this isn't an interview, but it is something I want to talk about how we develop as human beings and how teachers need to be thinking about development, especially human development, at this time. So, when you're little, when you're a baby, the rules aren't optional. The rules are the law that your parents lay down, and you follow them, or there are immediate consequences. Or at least that's probably how it ought to be. When you go through adolescence, you go through this stage where you feel like you are excited by the idea of breaking the rules and of the rules not applying to you. And it starts in adolescence, but for some people, they never get past this stage. It took me a long time to get past this stage. I was in my 30s before I got past this stage, where I wanted to be able to make decisions about what I was doing that made me special. It's kind of like having a permanent hall pass. So, that stage of wanting to be able to do things to kind of break or skirt, I was not really a rule breaker, I was a rule skirter. That urge to do that and that urge toward that feeling is natural, but you need to go through it and hopefully grow to a better place. Now, there are cases in which you grow to a worse place. So, for example, people grow up, they get loaded with a small amount or a great amount of authority, and instead of upholding the law and the rules because they're healthy for the community and they keep people safe and they keep people relating well to each other, they use laws and rules as a cudgel. And I'm going to give you an example. There are laws against obstructing your windshield when you're driving. Those are good rules. Those are good laws. You shouldn't obstruct your windshield when you're driving. You should have your windshield clear so that you can see and drive well. But I've heard cops talk about using those rules to stop people on really flimsy grounds. For example, if you have an air freshener hanging from your rearview mirror, then they can stop you for obstructing the view out your windshield. Well, that's using rules to manipulate the system and to victimize or manipulate people, not to help them, but to lord it over them. And lots of rules are that way. Lots of rules can be used to lord it over someone because you don't like them for whatever reason. A personal reason, a political reason, a religious reason, a prejudicial reason. It doesn't matter. Rules aren't intended to be a way to lower or exploit people who are lower. They're not supposed to be that way. That's not what rules should be. And a truly developed human being should reach the stage where if a rule is a good rule, then you should follow it regardless of your age or position within the system. Good rules should be followed by everyone, all of them, okay? They should only be broken if there's a clear, articulable reason why breaking them is more important than keeping them, okay? So let's take an example of a rule that most people really wouldn't even think about. I taught at a military school. Let's think of a military rule. So one of the military rules is you salute your superior officer. If you see a superior officer coming towards you, say on the walk, your job is to throw a salute to that superior officer and wait for that superior officer to return the salute and then drop yours. That's the rule, okay? Now, let's say you're in a military situation like that, a military school or a military unit. What does the salute do? The salute establishes and reinforces military rank and military bearing. which is a type of civility. If you think about it, military people need to be more mannerly, not less so, because they are going to be involved in situations where they have to decide about violent action. And they should never take it in a simply emotional state. The way they address what they have to do should always be in a professional manner. So the salute reinforces the professional structure within the military. Now, let's say you're a young person. Let's say you're somebody with some rank. Let's say you're a colonel in this system. And a corporal comes walking towards you on a sidewalk. And this corporal forgets, for whatever reason, to throw you a salute. There's a couple of ways you can deal with that. One is you can discipline them right there. Another of them, which I've seen military people do, which I think is the smart way, is they throw their salute first. Now this was in a school setting, but essentially I've seen lieutenant generals and generals throw a salute at a cadet before the cadet threw their salute. And of course, guess what happened? The cadet immediately blushed and threw the salute and understood that they had messed up. And the only thing it did was it reinforced that military structure, that military civility. Now, is there a situation in which that rule should not apply? Sure. If you've ever seen the show MASH, they had an episode where a colonel had given an order to two other people, and he said, I think when you accept an order from a superior officer, you're supposed to salute. And these two other men said, well, sir, there are snipers in the area, and they like to aim at the ranking officer, so if we salute you, they'll shoot at you. And he says, never mind. And so he says, give me the salute. And so they salute, and of course everybody gets shot at, okay? So in that case, upholding military bearing was less important than protecting the lives of the people there. So you can see the value of the rule and an instance in which breaking it is acceptable because there's a higher order problem in the way. If you're still stuck at the stage where you don't think the rules should apply to you, you need to grow up. Teachers, if you're in this state, you need to go past it. You need to get past this, and you don't need to use rules to beat up on students, okay? If it's a good rule, everybody should follow it. And if it's a bad rule, then try your best to get rid of it. And I don't know any better way than that to say it. A good rule should be followed by everyone. A good rule is stopping at the stop sign when it's your turn to stop at the stop sign. That's a good rule. And we, all of us, even the most simple-minded, see, yes, you know, that safety does help the community. Because without that rule, if only half the people in the community followed the rule, it would be chaos. The same is true for speed limits. And I think sometimes when I see somebody who ignores stop signs or stoplights or speed limits, I think to myself, I'll bet they're a perfectly sweet person. But they got in that car and they decided that they're above everybody else and the rules don't apply to them. And guess what happens when you do that? People pay. Not just you. Everybody pays. The community suffers when a good rule is treated badly. Okay, I'll jump off my soapbox now. John and I could have lots of conversations about this because John was very good at getting special treatment and I was not very good at it. And we both liked to have special treatment. We liked that. That's the truth. Being treated like somebody special is a wonderful feeling, but it's not as important as having a community that cooperates with each other in a respectful manner. Follow the golden rule. That's it for today. I hope you have a glorious rest of the day, week, year, and I hope you see me again, you gorgeous people.